Getting to know your friends and neighbors, this is Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And good morning. Welcome to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. It's presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floors and more. Also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. Cale Zomer here with you in the Daily Dodge TV studio. We've got Ninja with us on video today. Jack up in the Slumberland studios, pushing all the buttons and making us sound good today. Appreciate that. Yes, I am here. I am here after a 4 or 5 day wait. I'm here to finally get to host Hometown Today. Nothing like perfect timing when you're set to take over as host of a show and you get hit with a upper respiratory infection. But I suppose plenty of you parents out there with kids that have gone back to school now for about a month maybe can relate to that. I know they are our little germ factories, and they bring home all kinds of gifts for us. And mine decided that my first week as host was going to be when that happened. But feeling much better, so excited to be back. A big thank you to Charlie Dern for holding down the fort while I recovered. Appreciate him, and he did a great job. But excited to be here. A big day today. Got lots going on. My goodness. Of course, today it is early October. We're getting ready for the second full week of October. And that means brat fry? Yes, brat fry. I know, very rare to have a brat fry this late in the season. Apparently Mother Nature's a fan, though. She is holding up very well. It's going to be a great day for a brat fry. Brat fry crew is going to be out at St. Vincent de Paul of Columbus today from 11 until 1. That is at 1212 Park Avenue in Columbus. That'll be from 11 to 1. You get that permanent brat and soda or water with it for just $2. A great lunch deal, and you can go and check out the new location for St. Vincent de Paul in Columbus. So going to be a nice day for that. Our final brat fry of the season, so take advantage. Get out there. Maybe treat yourself to an extra brat, one more than you usually do, since it's the last one of the season, and you'll have to wait till spring to catch another one of those. So again, that's going on from 11 to 1, St. Vincent de Paul in Columbus today. And we're going to check in later in the show with Corey Sparks, who will be out there letting us know everything that's happening out at the Brat Fry. Lots of other stuff coming up, too. Big sports weekend. My goodness. You kick it off with high school football tonight. 2 great games tonight. Hard to believe we are on the second to last week of the regular season for high school football already. That season has absolutely blown by, and again, another great weather night for high school football. We've had a fantastic season for that. 2 games coming up tonight. Wade Bates and Tim Ladrin will be here in Beaver Dam on the call as Beaver Dam plays host TQ Wascom. Should be a fun game to watch. Beaver Dam having a fantastic season. Brock Lindy and the crew doing a great job, and excited to see how they get ready to wrap up the season and head into postseason play. Our other game, we've got Mike Tronson and Tim Haldeman, our pals, on the call over in Columbus tonight as they host Cedar Grove, Belgium. 6:45 the pregame on both of those games. You can view both of those here on Daily Dodge TV at 6:45, and the Beaver Dam football game also broadcasting live on our sister station, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, so you can catch all that action. And then tomorrow, of course, it's Badger Football Saturday. Always a great Saturday in October when you got Badger football. They will be at Rutgers. That game here on 95.3 WBEV. Pre-game coverage at 9 a.m., kickoff right around 11 o'clock. And then on Sunday, the big Packer game. Yes, the Packers hosting the Cardinals. And that game going to be right here on 95.3 WBEV. Pre-game 10 a.m., kickoff just after noon. So no shortage of things to do this weekend and watch and listen to. We've got so much fun stuff going on. And boy, if you were not outside last night here in the area, did you miss a show? The Northern Lights were absolutely on fire last night. I've been chasing these things for a couple of years now. It wasn't until probably a year ago that I finally figured out, got to put your camera on night mode and capture it that way because it's pretty difficult to see with the naked eye. But last night was the first time that it was very vivid and clear to the naked eye, and it was so much fun, especially right around 9 o'clock last night. It was putting on quite the show. I know I saw a lot of pictures and video on social media last night, so it was absolutely beautiful. So if you haven't been on your socials today, make sure you do that because there were some really cool. I was seeing video and pictures pretty far south, all the way far south as South Carolina, even a few pictures from Florida, if you can believe it, where just on the horizon you could see a little bit of those pinks and reds. It was pretty incredible. So great night. Possible decent night for viewing again tonight. We'll see how the forecast holds up. It was pretty strong last night, so I've got a feeling it might kind of die down tonight, but we'll see what tonight brings. Got a great show for you today. Really, really excited for my first show here on Hometown Today. Coming up, we're going to be talking with a few folks from the one of the latest productions from Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. We've got comedian Dobie Maxwell, and we've got comedian Ha Ha Heidi. We're going to be chatting with them about their show coming up tomorrow night, and maybe we'll even have a few laughs along the way. So we'll be joined by them here in just a few minutes. This is Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
Andy from Professional Floor Covering, bringing you Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV. and Daily Dodge TV. Cale Zomer here in the Daily Dodge studio. Jack pushing all the buttons up there in the Slumberland studio, and super excited to welcome in our guest for today's show. And yes, we had to start with a little Elton John, Ain't It Funny, because tomorrow night at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater, it is going to be a little bit funny as we get ready for the Schlitz Happened show. Yes, you heard that right. Schlitz Happened. Got to overpronounce on that one. Super excited to welcome our guest today. We've got Ha Ha Heidi, and we've got comedian Dobie Maxwell, who will have a show at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater tomorrow night. Really looking forward to the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Thanks for having us. I got to hand it to Ninja. The studio here, I've been on national television, and nothing is less here than it is at CBS television. So great equipment.
Isn't it impressive what he's put
I'm very
together
impressed with
down here?
the whole operation here. Craig Harmazin's on top of this. He knows
He
what
is.
he's doing.
Yeah, you're familiar with Craig. We'll get into that in a little bit, but we'll get to know, of course, a great comedy show coming up tomorrow night. Going to be a hoot, going to be really fun. If you're not familiar with these comedians, we're going to get to know them a little bit here over the next 2 hours, and I think you'll see why the show is going to be a pretty good time. And we'll start with Ha Ha Heidi over here. Tell us a little bit about yourself. You're not new to the area. You're pretty familiar with this area.
No, I am not new to the area. I didn't grow up here, and part of my shtick that is going to be tomorrow night is talking about my hometown. So I grew up in a very small town, and there are some very interesting things about growing up in a small town, like only having to dial 4 numbers to call your friend when I was a kid. Some very unique things. So yeah, it's a really funny, and I'm very excited to have this new set that I've really been working on. And I like Beaver Dam. We raised our kids here. I think it's a great community, and I call it home.
And you've done a number of shows around here too. This is not your first show here in Beaver Dam.
Right. I produce and host a show at the Riverfront Wine Bar, maybe 4 times a year. And bring in comedians from all over, Chicago area, Appleton. I've had people from Iowa, people that are like coming in for like Madison Comedy Festival have contacted me and said, hey, we'd like to do your show, and they're from Denver. So just fabulous range of people. There have been people that have been on the show that have lived and worked in LA as comedians.
Wow.
And have moved back, and they just rock the house. They really do. They're so good. So good.
Can you talk a little bit about your journey into comedy? How did that get started? What got you into comedy?
Well, I was involved with the community theater for about 10 years. I did most work backstage. I did a little bit on stage, and I thought, I kind of want to do something else. I'd always been interested in comedy. I had wanted to be a stand-up comedian for quite a while, and a friend of mine from theater had said you should take some improv classes, and he had done monkey business improv. So I thought, that's great. Why don't I try it? So I took a couple of classes. I met some great people, enjoyed improv. I would say I like stand-up better than improv. But after that, somebody had gotten a hold of me and said, hey, here's a class that teaches you how to write comedy. And I thought, perfect. I don't have any problem being on stage or talking in front of people, but really figuring out how to write those jokes and make it good is where I needed help. And so I took a couple of classes in Madison through Dina Martinez, and she was wonderful and a great teacher. And that's kind of how it first got kicked off.
Being a stand-up comedian yourself, do you have kind of a favorite stand-up comedian or somebody that you kind of inspired you as a stand-up comedian?
Yes, I would say that, well, one of my favorites is Dobie.
Thanks, Heidi. I'm embarrassed now.
He's so good. He's just hands down. He can really, he's really amazing. Like, for example, the first time Dobie came to Beaver Dam, I was still really trying to figure out how I was going to do this show. Shows were selling out all the time. Should we add a second show? And so I said, would you be willing to stick around for a second show? Absolutely, he said, nicest guy. His second show was completely different. than his first show. He just off the top of his head. It was amazing. My jaw was on the floor. I laughed so hard at the first show. I laughed so hard at the second show. So Dobie has been a great inspiration for me.
Thank you, Heidi.
I would probably say, as far as one of my favorite comedians is Fluffy.
Oh, big fan of Fluffy.
Yeah.
You're talking about Gabriel Iglesias.
Yes,
Yep.
I love his sound effects.
Yes.
And he's just he's so happy when he's on stage. He really is. He's so happy to be there, and he's very comfortable too, I think.
He is.
And I like that.
It's a very, when you watch his shows, you can just, even when you're watching his specials on TV, you can just feel that really positive energy during his shows. And yeah, the sound effects are great. He does fantastic. He can make a car sound like it hit its brakes and then took off. And Martin.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
if you haven't seen any of his acts, very, very funny. Gabriel Iglesias. Well, that transitions right into getting to know Dobie Maxwell a little bit. Dobie, welcome.
It's so great to be here. I'm telling you, this is a thrill to get up this early to come and have a show like this. Usually you're in and out in 2 minutes, and here's the sports report, and tip your waitress on the way out. So,
Well, tell us a little bit about you.
I grew up in Milwaukee. It's my hometown. I was a baseball player. I had a tryout with the Kansas City Royals when I was 19 years old.
Okay.
And I'm a left-handed pitcher, which in baseball is a really good thing to be.
Yes.
But I didn't have a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, so I got a second look, but I didn't get signed. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do now with my life? And in the Milwaukee Journal, I saw, and it was a weekend things to do. It says Monday night there is an open mic comedy show at a place called Sardino's, and I can plug that place because it's now closed. If you've ever heard of Al Jarreau, the jazz singer?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
He's from Milwaukee. He started singing at Sardino's. They had a comedy open mic, and I'm thinking in my mind, knowing nothing about stand-up comedy, well, it's comedy. I like comedy. There's going to be thousands of people there, and I'm going to go and see a great show. And I walked in, and there was 7 people in the place.
Right.
I thought, it must be the wrong day. So I went out and looked at my, no, it's the right place. I walked back in, and the show had already started. And the MC said, we've got 7 of Milwaukee's funniest comedians here. I was the only one in the place besides the bartender that was not a comedian.
Not an actual professional comedian.
And I learned what it was all about. By the end of the night, there was about 30 people that had come in. They said, if anybody wants to try to get up, and this is open mic, anybody can get up and try comedy. And I said, these guys are terrible. I can do that. So my hand shot up, an automatic reaction, and I went up, and I was worse than them. And I thought, I see. Like, in theory, like communism, it looks easy, but nobody can pull it off. And I was absolutely horrible. But I got an ad lib at the end of my set, however long, 3 or 5 minutes, which seemed like an eternity. Yeah. And that was the first shot of heroin. That goes into your brain, and getting that laugh full of strangers. If I wouldn't have gotten that laugh, I probably wouldn't have gone back. Wow. And so I started to crawl before you walk, before you run. And this is 1983, okay? And this is when the comedy boom is starting in America. Now, Milwaukee and Wisconsin, no offense, I'm born and raised here, is not the funniest place in the world because there's a lot of Germans here.
Exactly.
Germans aren't known for their warmth, their humor. Yeah. You're never going to see Klaus's Comedy Bunker in downtown Stuttgart. You're never going to see that. Kraut Top does not exist. So learning about that, and my family mostly German, so I had to learn how that was. I moved to Chicago and I started traveling when the boom hit, and I've been to 49 states, all over Canada, and I turned into a road dog. And all the places I didn't see in baseball, I saw in comedy. One thing led to another, and I thought, boy, you know what? This is a young person's game. I better have some stability. So I got into radio. Now, when stand-up comedy is stable, you know radio is a complete mess. I've been fired in all 4 time zones in America. You know, it's like hitting for the cycle in baseball. You know how hard it is to get fired in the mountain time zone? I did it. There are 3 words in the broadcast business you never want to hear. Shut the door. Nothing good ever happens after those 3 words. So it's been an experience. It's been most comedians' lives are based in pain. They are. Yeah. I can't speak for Heidi. Heidi seems about normal as any comedian I've met. And I don't know your backstory that much, and it's not a confessional, but most comedians, like Fluffy, I work with Fluffy in Las Vegas. There was a comedy competition at the Caesar's Palace. And we got a chance to talk a little bit. And I refer to it as being a dented can. You know, you go to the grocery store, I worked in high school, and the dented cans always get put on the shelf because there's something wrong with them. It's no fault of their own. And Fluffy liked that. We talked about it. He goes, yeah, I had a painful life too. And comedy's the only time you feel alive. And you're on stage for an hour a day, and you got 23 hours off, so to get to that next stage thing. So it's a complete mindset, and that's how the show Schlitz Happen got started.
It's so interesting. So it sounds like what you're recommending for Heidi is maybe find a little more life trauma?
No. She's got. I mean, I'm sure there's always trauma in everybody's life, but Heidi's got a family and beautiful kids and everything like that. And it's like we started working together, and I don't even know how we hooked up. But my brother, I have an older brother and older sister. My brother lived in Beaver Dam, and he actually passed away here. He had a stroke. He was paralyzed on his left side for 5 years and was in a nursing home here. So my sister and I, we would drive to Beaver Dam once a week for 5 years to see our brother. Wow. So I got to know the community here, the restaurants here, the Ponderosa, which now closed. Yep. I love the Ponderosa here. The KFC used to have the buffet. We love the KFC. Yeah. The Culvers, the McDonald's. There's great people here because it's small town America. The people will say hello to you and mean it. I love the Cousin Subs here. I'll plug any places. We went to a different restaurant every time we came here, and our brother loved Big Macs for whatever reason. So we'd bring our brother a Big Mac, and got to know the people at the McDonald's and said, oh, this is for Larry. And it's just the people are so sweet here. So I talked to Heidi, and she said, well, I booked a place at the Riverfront Wine Bar. I said, well, my brother's from here, and I don't know a lot of people. Could I come out? And we did that first show, and thank you for those nice words. But it was just so much fun and so open, and it's just I love it. So I know the town. I feel like it's my surrogate vacation spot. You know, some people go to Cape Cod. I go to Beaver Dam.
I love it. See? Beaver Dam tourism, alive and well.
Yes.
We have Dobie Maxwell and Ha Ha Heidi, the stars of Schlitz Happened, hitting the Encore Hall at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater tomorrow night, 7:30 for the showtime, if I'm not mistaken. So don't miss that. Tickets available at bdact.org. We'll be back with more from Dobie and Ha Ha Heidi in just a few minutes. It's Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
Professional Floor Covering, welcoming you back to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV, presented by Professional Floor Covering. Of course, Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floors, and so much more. And they've got the big October Gold Tag sale going on over there, so make sure you stop in and visit with Randy and the great staff over at Professional Floor Covering. I know we were just in there a week or two ago, and it's always fun to visit because I forget just the crazy selection that they've got over there. And that Gold Tag sale includes so much. They've got carpet. Any in-stock carpet gets free carpet cushion for all of October. They've got 40 rolls to choose from. They've got every Abbey carpet in the store is on sale. They've got a great selection. They've got wool carpet, of course. LVP, all the rage these days, a huge trend, and they've got a fantastic selection of LVP over there and that really good high-quality stuff, too. Not that cheapo stuff. They've got really good quality and a really, really beautiful selection. You've got the real hardwood flooring as well, countertops as well, so make sure to stop in at Professional Floor Covering, 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam to check out the Gold Tag sale. And you can also visit them online at proflr.com. That's PROFLR.com. You can also give them a call, 887-9972. Professional Floors, your floor, and so much more. 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam, PROFLR.com. Don't forget that brat fry coming up today over at St. Vincent Paul in Columbus. That is 1212 Park Avenue. It's their new location, so you get a chance to take a peek at their new location. So really exciting stuff happening over there. That runs from 11 a.m. today until 1 p.m. Get that pernet brat and a soda for just $2. Always love that. And it's our final brat fry of the 2024 season. So make sure you take advantage and get over there from 11 until 1. Packer football on the air this Sunday. The Packers hosting the Arizona Cardinals. Should be a good game. Hopefully you get to see some better performances from Jordan Love as he gets comfortable back on that leg. And that game will be right here on 95.3 WBEV. Pregame starts Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Kickoff set for noon. Of course, Badger football tomorrow, 9 a.m. as they are headed to Rutgers. We'll see what Luke Fickell and the crew can come up with. I know been a bit of a challenging start to the season, no doubt about that. Of course, losing a couple players, not helpful, but we'll see what they can pull off against Rutgers tomorrow, 9 a.m. for the pregame, 11 o'clock for the kickoff. We got to step aside for a quick news break. When we come back, we will go back to visiting with Dobie and Heidi from the Schlitz Happen show coming up tomorrow night at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. More after this here on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
Hi, it's Randy from Professional Floor Covering, making sure you don't miss what's happening in your hometown. It's Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV, presented by Professional Floor Covering, also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam. We've got some folks from the upcoming production of Schlitz Happened at the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. That show tomorrow night. 7:30 is showtime at Encore Hall at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. Really excited to be talking today with the comedians of the show. It's going to be a really, really good time. Excited for this show. We've been talking with Dobie Maxwell and Ha Ha Heidi, and I am told that we there is a third leg to this whole act.
He's our Ringo. You know, the two comedy comes in threes. Heidi and I are here, and he couldn't be here today because he's got big career things happening in his home of Delafield. I couldn't think it was. Delafield is where he is. Jerry Grotus is our friend.
And I do believe we've got Jerry joining us by phone. Jerry, are you there?
I am.
Hey, thanks so much for calling in and joining us today.
Hi, Jerry.
Good morning. Hey.
I've got
great.
I've got your pals Dobie and Heidi here, and they've been doing a great job so far. And really looking forward to the show tomorrow night, and excited to have you here in Beaver Dam. We already talked a little bit with them about their backgrounds, but Jerry, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a retired Air Force veteran, Air Force and Air National Guard, and I started doing some songwriting about 25 years ago, and was really into that. I was going to Nashville. I was a recording artist, actually. And, in fact, I think your station played some of my songs back in the day.
Wow.
But the music industry changed when they stopped selling CDs and cassettes and all those things. And so now, as a songwriter, if you want to get a song recorded, you pretty much have to write with the artist. And those calls don't happen. They don't make those calls to people that live in Wisconsin. You have to be in Nashville. So I thought, wow, I love to write. I've written some funny songs. What am I going to do? And I thought, I saw a sign that said comedy classes, and took a comedy class and got into it. And I've been doing it now for about 8 or 9 years. So yeah, it's great.
I feel like you just described the plot of a made-for-TV movie, Jerry. Well, first and foremost, thank you for your service. Appreciate that. What a crazy transition from Air Force veteran to professional musician to comedian. I mean, that's quite the life lived so far already.
Yeah, it's been a ride. For sure.
And so it sounds like your comedy style is musical stylings.
Well, I do some music in my show. I have some funny songs that I've written. I'll be doing a couple of those tomorrow night. And but yeah, my stuff is really just about life. And like Dobie and Heidi, we each have our own childhoods that provide us with probably a lot of fodder for material, and our relationships and our children and all those things. And so we each have, I think that's the great thing about comedy, just like music, is that each of us has our own style and our own, view of the world, and that's what makes it so unique, and that's what makes live comedy really a fun thing to go check out.
Do you have a favorite comedian or somebody that, as you got into comedy, you kind of looked at and maybe drew some inspiration from?
Oh, wow. Of the current comics, I really like Jim Gaffigan, probably the best. He's, a guy that's almost completely clean. He talks about very relatable things, and just a really good guy from what I understand. But going back, I'm in my 60s, so back in the day, I was like a big Steve Martin fan, and
Sure.
George Carlin and Richard Pryor and the people that were big comics back when I was young. So yeah, a lot of people that I respect and look up to.
So yeah, that's fantastic, and looking forward to having you tomorrow night at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. Jim Gaffigan, that's a good one, and some Milwaukee ties there too.
He married a woman from Milwaukee.
Yeah. So that's pretty neat.
I would do that if anybody would return my calls.
And it is really, it's so funny, Jerry, that you mentioned something interesting there about him too that I've noticed over the years that I've always been so impressed with. It is really interesting what a show he can put on that is so clean. It's kind of unique in a way.
I'm going to interrupt you here, Jerry, and I don't mean to do that, but Gail, our show is clean, and we do that from a business. So if anybody's coming out, people don't want to hear filth.
Yep.
Most people are not prudes. But they don't want to hear, blankety, blankety, bleepity, bleepity,
Right.
and you're not going to hear it at our show. And that alone, people say, I don't care if you're funny or not. I want to see your show just because of that.
That's
so
great.
We'll pull it off. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead, Jerry.
That's a really good point to make, because sometimes people go, all right, it's a comedy show, right? Are we on the Richard Pryor end of the spectrum, or are we on the Jim Gaffigan end?
We're on the
spectrum?
Richard Simmons end.
And you don't know what you're going to get when you go to a comedy show. I mean, maybe you'll be familiar with the headliner, but a lot of times there's a feature or even a third comic, and you don't know what you're going to get from those people. And I've had it swing both ways in Beaver Dam.
Sure.
So,
And it sounds like what's cool too is getting to talk to the three of you a little bit and getting to know a little bit about your act. It kind of seems like it's a great matchup, because you kind of each bring a little bit of your own flair and flavor to the comedy world, so they're going to get a little variety of everything.
I handpicked these young bucks and buckheads that come out here.
we're still asking why.
It's a good mix. Seriously, I just started out as a one-man show. I was doing comedy on cruise ships, which is a fate worse than death. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
it is not.
Yes, it is. It's the difference.
Jerry wants
He aspires to do it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But it's like, to me, it's working at a nice restaurant versus eating at one. It's fun to go on a cruise, not fun to work at one. Jerry doesn't see that yet. I'm propping him up, whatever. So he still believes in Santa Claus. You can't tell your kid not to believe in Santa Claus. So to make a long story longer, like you usually do, in the situation when I was on cruise ships, people come, you're from Milwaukee, you're from Wisconsin, and they would say all the things like Bubblers and George Webb restaurant and all those things. I'm thinking, wait, we're in the tropics in February, and why are we talking about Wisconsin for? And I said one night, hey, Schlitz happened. I said, oh, that's a good name for a show. And I thought it'd be about stuff about Wisconsin. And it turns out that a lot of people have painful childhoods that grew up anywhere. So the show is basically, my part is about childhood, and Jerry and Heidi have their own lives in there. So it's a buffet. You go to the buffet, you have different things. Some people go for fried chicken, some people go for a roast beef, but there's something for everybody in this show. So it evolved from a one-person show to a 3-act show, and Jerry and Heidi balance it out beautifully. It's like a band. It's an entire experience. It's not just me babbling about a bad childhood. It's the whole show, and someone's going to like us. You're going to like somebody at the show.
We got to. I want to ask Jerry, because obviously we know that the Heidi is from the area. Dobie has been here a number of times. If you're familiar, Jerry, have you been to Beaver Dam before? Do you get to make your maiden voyage for the show?
I have actually. Heidi booked me, and like Dobie said, the last time I was there, it was a clean show, so I could tell people I was happy to be in Beaver Dam. I just couldn't use either of those words in a joke. So it was very interesting.
Comedy coming at you right there.
See, I told you we would have a good laugh or two on the show today. Again, that is, and you know what? I should Jerry Grotus.
Grotus, yeah.
Grotus, I got it. Okay.
I'll let you in a little secret. That's not his real name. That's a show business name.
Okay.
His real name is Horatio Grotus.
Oh, gotcha.
He changed it to Jerry because it's what's warmer.
Yeah,
More comedic.
Yeah.
But my real name is Ha Ha.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I did check the birth certificate. I did see the Ha.
Traditional
on
spelling.
What she doesn't tell you is her middle name actually is LOL. I think, right?
Good one,
Exactly.
Kale. You can be on the show.
I don't know about that. My wife would have something to say about that.
She
one.
could come out too.
We have Jerry Grotus, we have Ha Ha Heidi, we have Dobie Maxwell. They are the stars of Schlitz Happened and Old Milwaukee Blatz from the Pabst, which I love. Did you come up with the name of the show?
I came up with Schlitz Happened.
I feel like you are a fan of puns as I am.
I love Scrabble. I love word games. I love puns. But the thing is, there's a gentleman who's a sports writer, used to work for the Milwaukee Journal. Now I believe he's in Janesville. His name is Art Kabalowski. And he tagged it. He said, hey, an old Milwaukee Blatz from the Pabst. I'm thinking, that's perfect. So every time someone asks that and gives a compliment, I got to compliment Art. He said, you can use it, but just give me credit. So it's a tag team thing. So I tracked down the Pabst Brewing Company who owns the name Schlitz, because I wanted to do this. I said, look, it's not about beer. It's not about drinking. It's a comedy show. They went to their law department and they got back to me and said, oh, that's really great. You can use it. So I can use all 4 names. They're all owned by the same company. So Old Milwaukee, Schlitz, Pabst, and Blatz. Mm-hmm.
Good
we're
thing
legal.
you knew that before we came on the radio.
We're legal to go. No, I took care of that, so we're all good.
I was putting my faith in BDACT that they made sure all the trademark agreements were in place.
Gruber Law Office is not going to be suing us down there.
That's
What's
right,
called?
exactly. That's exactly.
We're good.
Yep, there you go. Schlitz Happen coming to the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater tomorrow night. The Encore Hall, which is have you been to Encore Hall yet?
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
It's a great little venue there.
Yes,
it's fantastic.
love it,
I think that's
love
going to
it.
be a really nice environment for the show. That'll be tomorrow night, 7:30. You can get your tickets at bdact.org. Just look for Schlitz Happened. Click on there, and you can get your tickets to the show. It's going to be a really good time. Can't think of a much better way to spend Saturday night in Dodge County. Going to be a lot of fun, so come on out for that. Again, Jerry Grotus, we've got Ha Ha Heidi, we've got Dobie Maxwell, and we'll be back with them here in just a few minutes. It's Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
waking up your neighborhood with what's happening. It's Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. I'm Kale Zomer. We've got Ninja running the video today. Jack up in the Slumberland studio is pushing all the buttons to make us sound good. And the show, of course, presented by Professional Floor Covering. Also brought to you by McKinstry's Home Furnishings. And right now at McKinstry's, one of my favorite times of the year because it's the tax-free sale. Because really, who loves to pay taxes? Nobody. We don't like to pay taxes.
I do.
So,
means I'm making money.
That's right. McKinstry's Home Furnishings right now is paying the tax for you.
Oh, that's
Pay
better.
them a visit. Downtown Beaver Dam. You can save big with their tax-free sale. They're paying the sales tax, so you don't have to, and everything is on sale. So you really, really save some big money. You can save on sofas, reclining sofas, mattresses, adjustable bases, area rugs, dining sets, and of course their phenomenal selection of rocker recliners. Make sure you stop by. One of these days, I'm going to go spend an entire day over there and spend like 10 minutes in each rocker recliner and spend like 10 hours just so I can try every one just for a few minutes. But hurry in because that sale does end this coming Monday, October 14th. And, of course, you save on all those big name furnishings, Simmons Beauty Rest, Lazy Boy, England, Howard Miller, and a whole lot more. Plus, you know, if that's not enough, delivery is free, financing is free. Can't really get much better than that. Tax is free. It's the tax-free sale going on now at McKinstry's Home Furnishings in downtown Beaver Dam, where customers matter and quality counts. And, of course, they say thank you to everybody for voting them Dodge County's best furniture store. So stop down maybe today, maybe over the weekend, and say hi to Sandy and Rick and the staff over there and check out their fantastic selection. We are with the folks that are going to be part of the show coming up tomorrow night at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. It's the Schlitz Happened comedy show. We have Dobie Maxwell with us. We have Ha Ha Heidi and Jerry Grotus on the phone. And we've got just a few minutes here in this segment before we get to the top of the hour here. But talk a little bit about what folks can expect when they come to the show tomorrow night.
Well, they're going to get a little dose of life. Everybody's life starts in childhood. Sometimes it goes good, sometimes it goes not so good. And we get dealt a hand, and you spend the rest of your life dealing with that hand. Now Heidi, how many siblings do you have in your
One.
Just one? Mm-hmm. Do you get along well?
3 years older than me, brother. Yes and no. You know, I
know,
mean, there's,
yeah.
you know.
My sister and I
mean, there were days were good and days were bad.
Yeah.
You know,
That immediate pause made me go,
And that's the thing. And it's like everybody thinks that their own problems are that I have the worst and everybody's normal. Nobody's normal. Nobody's functional. How can you make that fun? I always grew up in Milwaukee. My dad was a member of the Outlaws motorcycle gang, and I wish I was making it up, but I wasn't.
Really?
My mother abandoned our family. I have older brother, older sister, abandoned us. I was 5 months old, and she just wasn't ready for motherhood, and I heard she's still alive. I don't know that. I've talked to you guys more now on this show than I've talked to my mother in my life. And I'm not looking for sympathy. I'm just saying, okay, you got to deal with that. You can't rip a baby away from its mother and not have there be some damage. And my grandparents raised me, and they lived through the Great Depression, which meant I had to live through the Great Depression because that was their mindset. And my grandmother was very, very German, vicariously. She was very cold and very just vengeant, just a nasty person. And my grandfather, Gramps, that's my nickname for him, he took me on long walks and told me about life. And if it wasn't for Gramps, I would be dead or in jail for sure. And I got such fascinating stories of Gramps. He's the real star of the show. And all the lessons that he wrote on my heart are now coming out in my 40s and my 50s and my 60s. And people our age can look back and say, boy, I have problems too. And the way you handle it through humor, it took a long time. And I drop one F-bomb at the end of the show. It's a clean show, and it's not the one that you're thinking of. The F word I'm talking about is forgiveness. Can you get to forgiveness in your life? It's a very difficult place to get. So there's a lot of funny parts to the story, but like anything else, there's a little bit of salt. There's a lot of sugar, a little bit of salt, and people come up to me after the shows. I've done it about probably 20 or 30 times, and they give me hugs. Germans aren't huggers. My grandmother gave me my first hug when I was 37 years old. And I
They
said,
leave
"What-"
that for us Dutch folks. I think.
Exactly. The Dutch are very warm. They
Or
got,
English,
You
I'm
got the wooden
English.
shoes. You got the windmills. Dutch is good. But it's got a little poignancy to it, and it's got a message. And people say, I laughed. I really enjoyed it. But thank you for giving me heart and soul. And I don't make fun of anybody else's comedy show, but I have to have some substance. So when I brought Jerry and Heidi in, it kind of dilutes what I'm talking about. Oh, it's going to be doom and gloom. There's parts of it that are a little bit, rough, but not in a bad way. And it's like it's got a happy ending. It's stories and vignettes of life. And also, if you grew up in Wisconsin, little things like now. Did you grow up in Wisconsin?
My entire life.
So do you say? I noticed you heard it on. I heard it on the commercial. You say soda.
Soda.
Now, Heidi, you grew up in Illinois. Do you say pop or soda?
Soda.
Thank goodness. I moved to Chicago. It was always pop. It was pop. I don't know. I say soda. Then I went to Georgia. You know what they say there? Coke.
Coke,
Right.
yep.
Everything. You want a Coke? Yeah. What kind? Sprite. It's like, no wonder you lost the Civil War. You gotta learn all that stuff.
And then there's some in the Midwest who can't decide, and it becomes soda pop.
Soda pop, yeah, and all that
Right,
thing. So
yeah.
I think, it's everybody, it's always us and them. And I think if you're a Wisconsinite and you grew up here, especially in the Milwaukee area, Beaver Dam's a little bit farther out, so you're not on the cusp a little bit. Jerry's from Madison, so he's from the whole thing. But I think you're going to get it's like, boy, it's a Wisconsin kind of a flair there. Growing up, lifetime of cheering for the Packers, a lot of sports stuff we talk about if you're a sports fan. I grew up watching wrestling. I don't know if you did pro wrestling, AWA. Someone listening to me knows who the Crusher is and Baron von Raschke and all those things.
I can already hear Wade Bates' footsteps running down the hall to come talk wrestling.
Yes.
Wade, at least wait till the commercial break.
Come on down, Wade.
He's a big wrestling fan.
We'll talk about it. And the good thing about the show is you're never going to see the exact same show twice. Now, Jerry and Heidi are newer to the comedy game, and they're very funny, and they're putting it together. And it takes years, any kind of craft. A songwriter, an actor, a comedian. And I've got 40 years of experience to go out and look. I can look at the crowd like Jordan Love looks at the defense. He can read a defense and say, okay, this crowd's going to go in a sports direction. That crowd's going to go in another direction. That's why, Heidi, when you said I did 2 shows and I did a different one every time, that's part of you can't fake experience. You will get more than you pay for, and you're going to say, it's not what I expected, but I really had a good time.
Very good. It's we've got Dolby Maxwell, we've got Ha Ha Heidi, Jerry Grochus joining us by phone. They will be part of the Schlitz Happen show happening tomorrow night at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. 7:30 is showtime in Encore Hall. Tickets available at bdact.org. Should also mention tickets available at the door as well, so don't feel like you're going to miss out there.
I think we have a drink special, don't we, Heidi?
Yes, the Schlitzer Spritzer.
Schlitzer Spritzer.
Yes.
Say that one 10 times
Yeah,
fast.
yeah.
After you have a
Actually,
couple, you aren't going to be saying it right.
I was going to say, I think after you have a few, you might not be saying it right.
Or say it backwards, man.
Yeah. Oh boy. Wow. That would really be a mouthful. That sounds awesome. So that's fantastic. You can check that out as well. We've got them for another hour. Looking forward to it. As you can see already, it's going to be a great show. Going to be a fun time, and we're going to get a little bit more into some of their comedy experiences here in the next hour. So stay tuned. It is Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV, presented by Professional Floor Covering.
Hey neighbor, this is Randy, owner of Professional Floor Covering, welcoming you back to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV, presented by Professional Floor Covering, store for your floor and so much more. Pay them a visit at 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam. You can also visit online at PROFLR.com. That's PROFLR.com. And make sure you check out their fantastic lineup of products. They've got brand new Stanton carpet line. It's perfect for custom area rugs, runners, stairs, really, really good for stairs. It's a really good quality, a luxury feel. Check that out. They've got great brands all across the store. They've got all kinds of flooring. They've got the LVP. They've got the hardwood. They've got porcelain tile. They've got great selection of carpet, area rugs. They've also got countertops. If you're remodeling that kitchen, you got to head out there. Or if you're doing a bathroom, they've got everything you need for there. They can hook you up with a new walk-in shower, vanity and countertop. They've got all the latest waterproof flooring as well. And they do free in-home measurements and quotes, and they'll do a free in-store consultation as well. You can visit their beautiful showroom at 713 Park Avenue or take a virtual tour online at PROFLR.com. And when it comes time to needing things sharpened, your mower blades, anything like that, make sure you visit their Pro Edge sharpening spot there behind the store. They can sharpen anything with an edge. Anything with an edge. If it's got an edge, they can sharpen it. So visit Pro Edge Sharpening for that as well.
I got a little bit of an edge, Cale.
You do have a little bit of an edge.
Yeah.
I sense that in you. Again, Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor and so much more. 713 Park Avenue, online at PROFLR.com. Appreciate Randy and the team over there and all the great work they are doing. We're here with the stars of the Schlitz Happened show coming tomorrow night to Encore Hall at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. 7:30 is showtime. You can get your tickets at BDACT.org or some tickets available at the door as well if you don't get a chance to get those ahead of time. And before we get too far, we did want to mention, too, there is an afterglow going on tomorrow night as well.
Yes. So after the show, we are going to be heading over to the Riverfront Wine Bar, and they will be hosting the afterglow. And they have a full bar there. It's not just wine. And when there is an afterglow, usually, and I have talked to Bonnie, she's going to order pizza from Park Plaza, so there'll be some snacks, and it'll be a nice way to just have a conversation. If you want to come over, meet the comics, talk to them, ask questions, whatever you'd like to do. And Afterglow is a great place to just be relaxed and chill and hang out.
If anybody likes Scrabble, I really enjoy playing Scrabble. So if you could bring a game along, you can do that.
You know, it's funny you bring that up because I wanted to call this out because this is pretty. You're a big fan of Scrabble. When I say big fan of Scrabble, you had brought a couple of gifts for a couple of our folks here that I wanted to show folks. Yeah, that is a nameplate made out of Scrabble letters. This one, yeah, there you go, Ninja. Thank you. This one you made for our producer Charlie, who ironically is busy with our brat fry today, so he's not here.
He should be.
He's out in Columbus helping us out. But yeah, you brought a couple of these for some of the folks here, and that is just.
And you'll be getting one too, Cale, as will Ninja.
Oh well,
And the hard part is because the J, there's only one J in a Scrabble game. Like, quick story of how that got started. I play online a lot. I just always loved Scrabble, even as a kid. And there was this woman from Michigan that we played for years, and then she just stopped. And I thought, well, what happened? We played for years. Turns out she had sepsis. She almost passed away. She was almost dead, and she recovered from it. And I thought you were mad at me. No, I almost died. So I'm thinking, what can I do to cheer her up? And I'm walking through a thrift store, as I am wont to do. I don't miss a thrift store. I'll be going to rummage sales today in Beaver Dam too before I go home. Okay, so the long story longer, I bought a Scrabble game for $1, and I thought, I wonder, her name was Christie, Kristie, 7 letters. I wonder if I would make one of those and mail it to her and might cheer her up a little bit. Well, it turns out she was a court reporter, and she absolutely loved it, and she put it on her desk, and everyone, where did you get that? And who's going to throw their name away? So now every time I go to a rummage sale or a flea market and I see a Scrabble game, I'll pick it up for $1 or $2, and I have a bunch of them on. So I made one for Heidi, I'll make one for you, and no one's going to throw their name away, and it's kind of become my trademark. So if you're coming to the show, you want to email me, I will make one up for you special. If you come up to the wine bar afterwards, if I have some crab, I'll make one for you too. It's a nice little thing. I'll send one to you. You'll get one. It's just a nice
or I can get
gesture.
it to you.
You'll get it to you. Yeah.
Either way.
No one's going to throw it away.
We've got Ha Ha Heidi. We've got Jerry Grotus, who had joined us by phone, and we appreciate Jerry's time. I know he had to get back to some of his stuff, so we appreciate his time joining us, but looking forward to that.
Are you still here?
Oh,
Jerry, I'm sorry, buddy. I thought you were working.
Jerry's
I
still
texted
there.
you. I thought he was the fourth caller. You wanted to know if he wanted
Yeah,
CD.
exactly. Well, Jerry, I'm so glad you're still there because I wanted to ask you. We talked a little bit about your act, and you kind of bring life in general. Do you bring any of that military experience into your act at all?
Sometimes a little bit of it. They always talk about military intelligence, kind of not being such a spot on term.
Jerry does 50 push-ups before he gets on stage.
Yeah, that's my shtick, and I let the audience count. No, I'm just kidding. No, I have stuff about a lot of different things. We talked about how some of us are dented cans growing up. I have two half brothers named Tom. So that tells you a little bit.
I'm sure that wasn't confusing at all.
Right.
Two half brothers named Tom.
I'm going to say this because Jerry is a very laid-back, humble, nice guy, as Heidi's a young woman, nice about that too. Jerry is a wonderful singer. He's a good comedian, and he's not doing it that long. So for as long as he's been doing it, he's good. As a singer, he is fantastic. He is great. He has a CD.
Really sing.
Where he wrote the songs. Not only is that, he sang the songs. If you know who Randy Travis is,
yep,
that is in the ballpark. I don't want to say, but he sounds. I thought, boy, that sounds like a Randy Travis.
Style.
But Jerry's got a great style, and his CDs will be available. Who buys CDs anymore? I think someone here in Beaver Dam has it. I played it in my
I'm
car.
sure.
Yeah.
It's in my. I worked at 2 country radio stations, which is wrong with radio if they hired me because I didn't know Garth Brooks from Mel Brooks. But I got to know that country artists are very nice, and they work really hard, and they're friendly. And Jerry gave me a copy of his CD, and a friend is like, okay, he gave me a CD, I'll listen to it. Then I popped it in. Oh, my gosh, this guy is absolutely fantastic. So hopefully
I have a copy, too.
We can find a way to either maybe play a song, but come out, and the pre-show music will be Jerry singing. And he does comedy songs in his act, but his regular country CD should be on the charts. It's that good. Like he said, they played it on the station years ago, but it's fantastic.
Jerry, could you just share a little bit with us, a little bit about maybe a song or two that you do? Is there a favorite that you really enjoy and what it's about?
Yeah, I do a song that, and obviously I'm not going to sing it a cappella, but yeah, there's a I talk a little bit about I'm going to just give something away here. I'm on my third wife, and with the life I've had, it's not
typical country singer.
Yeah, there's some country songs in there for sure. But one of the things that I talk about in one of my songs is how it's a lot easier for women to be in relationships because they understand them because they played with Barbies for years, and men don't have that relationship experience. So we just think that life would be a little bit more, interesting, and we would understand love a little bit better if it were a little more baseball, because that's what we know. We grew up with baseball. So I have a song called More Like Baseball that talks about how if love was a little more like baseball, we'd probably get it a little better than we do.
Jerry, do you feel like you can relate love to baseball because you've struck out too many times in life?
Oh, for sure. That is
Thanks, Kale.
Well, hopefully the song and the show are a home run. See,
Bingo.
I told you I'm a fan of puns.
So you make the big money, buddy.
I warned you I'm a fan of puns. Ninja knows this all too well. He's back there behind the camera going, yeah, please don't encourage the pun behavior. That is Jerry Grotus. He will be one of 3 comedians on stage tomorrow night at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater at Encore Hall. Looking forward to that show. And you talk a little bit about your experience in radio, because that's pretty interesting.
Well, I thought I would get into it to have stability in my life, and it turns out I was in Lansing, Michigan, and doing.
So, in other words, you know nothing about radio.
Exactly, I knew nothing about it, but I was doing an interview, not as good as this one, but it was in a radio show, and the owner came in after I got off the air, and it was only on for like 10 or 15 minutes, and he said, "Hey, you're really funny. Do you want to come back tomorrow?" And my ego's like, "Hey, I'm really good. Yeah, I'll come back tomorrow." So I came back tomorrow, and because I was in town working in Lansing the whole week. And they said, "Oh, you want to come back on Friday and do the whole show?" It's like,
wow.
Yeah, sure, I guess that. So I'm thinking. So it turns out what had happened was he offered me the job on Friday after the show. The regular morning show guy was in drug rehab, and he had no abundance, so he needed a warm body that could talk. So
Yeah.
I was the guy at the right place at the right time, so he offered me the job. That's how I got my first job in a top 100 market on a morning show. That's like the headliner at a comedy club without a tape. And radio people are like, how did that happen? It's like, I was in the right place at the right time. So I worked in Milwaukee.
Yeah, for sure.
I worked in Salt Lake City. I worked in Reno, Nevada, the Loop in Chicago, and all those stations. It's just, they said you can be funny on the radio and you can get a job. I don't recommend you or anybody getting into radio that way, because it got fired. A new station comes in, they say, hey, shut the door, they put you out of town. So it's a stable business for very few. So hopefully you guys will have a job for as long as you want it.
I like to tell people that I landed here accidentally because I was just going for a walk and needed to use a restroom, and it was the nearest building. And when I came out, they mistook me for somebody who actually mattered, and somehow I ended up doing this for the last 19
Now
years.
you got a Scrabble name tag to prove your worth.
Exactly. There you go. We've got Dobie Maxwell. We've got Ha Ha Heidi. We've got Jerry Grotus on the phone. Stars of Schlitz Happened and Old Milwaukee Blats from the Past. I love that name. I might say that a few too many times today.
No, you can never say it. We love hearing it.
Okay.
That is such a great name. Again, 7:30 is the showtime tomorrow night at Encore Hall at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. Tickets available at bdact.org or at the door. And again, you're going to get a clean show.
Yes. And you're going to get a show, period. And I know I'm sounding old now. You kids, get off my lawn. But I see new comedians coming up there, and they do what they think a comedian should do. Like Jerry writes songs, and Heidi writes. You have to have a game plan there, and they just get up and talk. There's got to be some substance there, and that takes years to put that together. So I think it's a craft that I know I respected my entire life. I've taught classes my entire life, and it's good to see people in an older age demographic that have been around the block to get to comedy and summarize their life. I started when I was 19. Well, Heidi and Jerry started a little bit later. We're close to the same age within a few months. So I think I can encourage other people. I've got a Facebook group called the Maxwell Method of Stand-Up Comedy. And the reason I call it that is because Colonel Sanders did not invent fried chicken, but he was smart enough to put his name and his face on the bucket, and he had his own recipe. So I made all the mistakes that there is to make in comedy on stage and off, so I can mentor people like Heidi and Jerry and anybody that wants to start, and they mentor me in the business side of it. So we really have a great mesh and a great opportunity here. So there will be a show. You're going to like somebody. Thanks for asking and having us on. But I think the good part about it is we want to get our fans that come out to see us. I think there's about 300 or 400 camping out by the Performing Arts Center waiting to buy tickets to go on sale. But afterwards, you're going to come to the wine bar and meet us all. You go, hey, these are really nice people. They're comedians, but you don't get a chance to go to the ball game. You can't meet Jordan Love. So that's what we like. You go to a movie, you don't get to meet Sylvester Stallone. And I always thought, I know Jerry and Heidi are the same way. It's like we want to meet our fans and say hello. And if you want a picture, you can have it. If you want a signed picture, I've got some. But it's good to build a fan base. I'm thinking, how many do you really need to build a living? I'm thinking if we had 10,000 people in the state of Wisconsin that loved what we do and we come through once every so often, we'd all have a nice life. That's what we're shooting for.
You bring up an interesting point, talking about the fact that Heidi and Jerry kind of got into the comedy world a little later in life than you did. Mm-hmm. From their perspective, Jerry, I'll go to you first. Do you feel like having, found that comedy bone later in life, that puts you at a disadvantage, or has it kind of maybe provided you with some additional material?
Well, the thing is, comedy has to be relatable to people. So what I find is, as an older person who's had a lot of life experiences, I have a lot to draw from. If I would have started doing comedy in my 20s, you haven't lived very long at that point, and a lot of the things that you know are either not relatable to everybody, or they're just not really all that interesting. And so I think that I have relatability to a lot larger swath of people that are at our shows, just because I do have a lot of life experience that I can draw from to write my material.
Heidi, how about you? Are you kind of in the same boat as Jerry?
Yeah, I completely agree with him. And also just, things like being a parent, is something that when you're younger, you're not necessarily at that place in your life. And I think that sometimes young comics, that's why they have a tendency to go dirty, because it's easy. For one thing, and again, like Jerry said, they haven't lived that much. What are they really going to talk about that's going to be relatable to somebody who's 40 sitting in the audience? So you are who you are talking to. Also, I know a lot of my fans that come to the wine bar, they are my age, and so they relate to what I'm talking about because they are parents, or they do have pets, or they have had these situations happen to them, like being fired or whatever. They've lived more life, and so it's a relatable group that we find.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that, because I do think relatability in comedy is so important. And it's just fascinating because just a week or two ago, a bunch of us actually from the team here got together for a little outside work outing get together, and we actually started kind of talking about some of the today's comedians, and we kind of all had different opinions on different ones and how their acts are, and you kind of forget that it's a lot of that difference in opinion of who you think's funny, who you think's not funny. Oh no, how can you like that guy? He's not funny. A lot of it probably just comes down to relatability to yourself, and that we are different people, so we relate differently to different comedians.
Yep.
Well, I think a lot of it is everyone has a taste for a certain thing. It's like comedy's a lot like music. Not everybody likes jazz. Not everybody likes rap or country, but there are enough of us that do. And like Dobie was saying earlier, the three of us have very different sets that we do, and so I think everybody will find something funny in what we're doing.
We've got Dobie Maxwell, Jerry Grotus, and Ha Ha Heidi with us, the stars of Schlitz Happened, coming to Beaver Dam Area Community Theater tomorrow night. We've got to step aside for a quick break. We'll be back with more from them here on Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
it's Randy from Professional Floor Covering. You're listening to Hometown Today on the 5,000 watt flamethrower on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. Brought to you in part by McKinstry's Home Furnishings. And it is that great part of the day where we get to chat with one of my favorites, Sandy from McKinstry's, I do believe, is on the line. Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. I'm a little bit bummed out, though, because, we're speaking with some of the folks from the Schlitz Happens show that's coming to Beaver Dam Area Community Theater tomorrow night, and I noticed you weren't part of the lineup. Is your stand-up act just not quite ready to go, Sandy?
No, I am just not that humorous. I will leave it in their hands. They will do a much better job than I would do.
Well, for what it's worth, we've gotten to work together, and I do find you at least fun. If you're not funny, I do find you fun to work with. So
okay, well, good.
And you and the whole staff down at McKinstry's, it's always really fun to come visit with you. You've got a phenomenal staff down there, and right now you've got one of probably my favorite promotions of the year going on with the tax-free sale.
Yeah, so we have the tax-free sale going on. So literally on anything you purchase, there's no sales tax. We'll take care of the sales tax part. So if you're looking at, an area rug for $299, that's your price, $299. You don't have to worry about the extra sales tax on it.
I love this, and I remember years and years ago, the first time I heard this, I went, that is one of the most brilliant promotions I've ever heard, because number one, really, all of us would love to not have to pay taxes anymore. And listen, as somebody who's not good at math, that's really helpful for me, because otherwise I go, all right, yeah, sure, that says 168, but what is that actually going to be? I'm not good at math, and so that's it's just great. And of course, you've got just a phenomenal staff there too, who's not only really easy to talk to, but really knowledgeable too.
Yeah, I mean, our staff has been working here for a long time. I mean, all the employees, and come January, I'll have put in 40 years myself.
Wow.
So, yeah, definitely a long standing as far as the number of years we've put into the furniture industry.
And I think Rick is basically just part of the building now, right?
Yeah, he's been working here for about 57.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of that knowledge and stuff, and I mean, we've just seen a lot of different changes, like everybody does if you stick in the same industry. There's so many changes that have happened in those years. It's unbelievable. Well,
and the cool part, too, is, when you go in and you talk to, you and your staff at McKinstry's, it becomes really apparent really quickly that, not only are you guys knowledgeable, but you're pretty passionate about what you do, too.
Oh, yeah. It's so much fun trying to find that perfect fit for somebody. Like, I had a customer in here on Monday, and they were looking for a recliner, one for him and one for her. His was easy. We got that picked out. But she was sitting in a chair, and I could just see she was going to get a neck ache in it because of how the head was being pushed out and stuff if she sat in there for about an hour. So we picked out a different chair, and we got her one that'll be really good.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Those little details that, that you notice, ooh, I don't think that's going to work with her head and neck. That's just so great, because nothing's worse than making an investment in something larger like that, and thinking, all right, this is great, and then getting home and then suddenly you're oh, that's not so good. So that's super helpful. And of course, with the tax-free sale, you guys just have such a great selection of products over there too.
Oh, yes. We have, the 3 different floors, and we've got 2 buildings side by side. Most people, when they walk in, they just say, I didn't realize this place was this big. We have a lot of furniture in here.
It really is. It always boggles my mind. And not only that, but, I know not only by going in the store, but, following along on Facebook, you guys are keeping up on trends, too, and changing out and getting some of that new trendy stuff in, too.
Oh, yes. We're always, trying to keep up with the trends. However, we also want to remember our area.
Mm-hmm.
Just because something's in California, it doesn't mean somebody from Beaver Dam is going to like it.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point. And I mean, you've got everything from mattresses to rocker recliners. I was joking earlier that someday I'm going to come spend 10 hours at McKinstry so I can spend 10 minutes in every rocker recliner you have. I always love going downstairs and seeing that huge selection of rocker recliners. And you've got some really great brand names, too.
Well, yes, like Lazy Boy. I mean, the recliners are just really nice and comfortable. And one of the biggest things you got to come in and start to try out is the power ones, because
Yes.
you've got the adjustable headrest and the adjustable lumbar. So those are just so comfortable. And then we even have, like chairs with cell phone wireless chargers, like you can just set your cell phone down. There's some that have like a little stand that you can put your tablet on or your phone or anything like that too.
I can't, it's funny to think like back 20 years ago, I wouldn't have thought that rocker recliners would come with USB charging ports. It's crazy how far that's come along. Who would have known they could actually inject
10
technology?
years ago, but now they're pretty standard.
Yeah, it really has kind of become the standard, and it's such a great selection. And of course, you too. I always will like to point out, because you do have a really phenomenal selection of area rugs too.
Oh, yes, there's a lot of them. And the thing about the area rugs is we can order them in so many sizes. And most of them only take a couple weeks to get in. It doesn't take very long at all to get those in.
Anything else we're forgetting to mention about the big tax-free sale going on? I think that goes through Monday, right?
It goes through Monday, yes. And, of course, we still have our free delivery, and we'll put it in your house where you want it. We do not just deliver it to your doorstep.
That's fantastic. And your hours, Sandy, if folks want to stop by maybe this weekend or on Monday?
Okay, so today we're open till 5:30, and then tomorrow from 9 to 5, and on Monday from 9 to 5:30.
9 to 5:30 on Monday. Well, fantastic. Sandy, anything exciting planned for the weekend, or are you just going to be busy with the tax-free sale?
I'm going to be working, so please come in and see me.
All right. Stop in, say hi to Sandy and the awesome staff over there at McKinstry's Home Furnishings. That tax-free sale, again, going on through Monday, so take advantage of that. We've got to step aside for some news. When we come back, we will revisit with some of our comedians from Schlitz Happened hitting the stage at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater tomorrow night. This is Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV.
Hi, this is Randy, owner of Professional Floor Covering, and you're listening to Hometown Today on your hometown station, 95.3 WBEV, powered by Daily Dodge.
And welcome back to Hometown Today on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV. It's presented by Professional Floor Covering, the store for your floor, and so much more. Of course, make sure you check out their October Gold Tag sale going on now. You've got just great sales on everything throughout the store. That fantastic selection of carpet they've got over there. We were just over there a couple weeks ago with Hometown Today and got to sit down and chat with Randy, and it's always so fun. It's hard to stay focused there because I'm so distracted because I just want to keep walking around the store and going, because even if you're thinking about like remodeling or whatever and you're just not sure, go take a walk through the store because, man, that will provide some inspiration because I have no plans for a remodel right now, and even I'm going, ooh, that would look really good in the bath. I might have to ask Randy about that one. And of course, the Gold Tag sale, a great time to do that. Some great sales throughout the store on that carpet, the wool carpet. Of course, the LVP, which is a fantastic option. You see a lot of LVP going into new builds these days because it's just such a great option. You've got the real hardwood flooring, if you'd like, as well. Countertops, all that great stuff. Go check them out, 713 Park Avenue in Beaver Dam. You can also visit them online at proflr.com. That's proflr.com. Professional Floor Covering. Our thanks to Randy and the crew over there for everything they are doing. Don't forget, as you heard just a few minutes ago, that Brat Fry going to be getting underway here in just a little bit over at St. Vincent de Paul in Columbus. It's their brand new location over there, 1212 Park Avenue. So not only do you get that permanent brat and a soda for just $2, you can check out their new location and all the goodies they've got over there as well. We are with a couple of the comedians that are going to be on stage tomorrow night at Encore Hall at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater. We have Dobie Maxwell, Ha Ha Heidi. Wanted to talk a little bit more about some of the things that inspire you guys and what you bring to your comedy. And, Heidi, we were, during the break talking a little bit about raising kids, and some of that kind of comes into your comedy.
Right. Yes. Well, we have two boys, and it's just interesting. One of the common things is all your kids are different, I'm sure. My two boys are very different. And you always wonder, it's like, how can they come from the same womb and be so different? Like our younger one loves reptiles. The older one would not touch a Geico gecko with a 10-foot pole. Yeah, I mean, it's just, they're so different.
Can you say their names because they're listening? Mom, you didn't say my name.
Well, they don't live here, so
okay.
I don't know if they would be here.
I just wanted to honor it because I was a kid.
That'll come out in the show.
Got it. Got to see the show.
So that's part of a joke that I have with that. And just, the different majors in college and different sports that they were in. One was more athletic, one was more intellectual, like robotics, and that kind of thing. So just your kids are all different. I'm sure yours are too.
Yep, I've got three. We were talking about that off the air, and it provides, kids, it took me a couple years to realize, if you really watch for it, your kids provide a lot of entertainment and comedy in your own life if you're really paying attention. There's, you remember, back in the day, you probably remember the old show, kids say the darndest things. Oh, yeah. It was there for a reason because they really do, and they do some of the darndest things too, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. I remember that... Well, my son had broke his arm, and anytime you're a mother and you have to take your kids to the ER, you're a wreck. But I frantically carry John in, and the nurse takes one look at us, and she says, "Who are we admitting?" Because I was just like white as a sheet, and I never had to take my kid to the ER before. And of course, these tears are streaming down his face, and his arm was, he had to have surgery. It was like a compound fracture. So, yeah, but everybody has that kind of thing happen, when you're a parent.
My wife, who is a former orthopedic nurse, is going to want to see some pictures of the casting, make sure it was done properly. So kids, obviously, such a great thing to have as part of your stand-up because it's relatable. So many people have kids, and they're funny. What are some of the other things that kind of make their way into your show?
Well, we also have dogs, and I do a piece on the dogs, but then I also turn it into how the kids are like the dogs, like raising them is very similar. And if you have pets, you teach your dog certain things or whatever, but, it's like you still have to clean up vomit and poop and, half my life is taken up by somebody else's bodily functions.
Did your did your dog come into your life the same way mine did, and the way so many do with Dad does not want a dog, and then 3 weeks in, Dad is best friends with the dog.
Oh.
Is that something that happened in your house, or not quite?
No, not so much. Actually, I'm the cat person, and when we first got married, we had a dog, and then after she passed away, I wanted cats, and then when the kids were young, we had cats. And since we don't have the cats anymore, my husband, I want a dog again. So we got a dog, and I love Tucker. He's a wonderful dog, but he's not a lover. But Trixie is my lover, and so it's very different having two also than just one dog.
Yeah,
so,
I've only got one. I've got a pug, and either of yours troublemakers like getting into trouble?
Oh, Trixie.
Okay,
she digs holes in the yard. Oh, it's awful. It's our backyard is the bumpiest, worst. I mean, it's awful. It really is. It's just from the dogs. Our
pug is a scavenger. If you came to our house, he would lead you to believe we don't feed him.
Oh,
I mean, he will, if there's, and I say now, he's getting up there in age. I say now, when he was younger, we should have trained him to be a police dog, because that dog can sniff out a Cheerio from a mile away. And my favorite story to share, and I can share because he was fine. You got to be careful, but it's Halloween time coming up, which reminds me, the first year my wife and I had our house, we didn't have kids, and we were super excited to hand out candy at Halloween time, and we had gone out for dinner one night, and we had a pantry, and where we'd store a lot of candy and food and stuff, and never shown any interest in it at all. And we come home from dinner, and I walk in the living room and flip on the light, and I went, what happened to our living room? We had one of those 5-pound mixes of standard Halloween candy, the Dots, the Tootsie Pops, the Tootsie Rolls.
Oh, and the pug got into all that.
5-pound bag. He almost cleared it out in about 2 hours.
Wow.
Hospital visit.
There was wrappers everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
He was okay. We didn't know what to do. He actually did not end up at the vet. We kind of just watched him. Listen, the bowel movements were really colorful for a few weeks. Especially with those Tootsie Pops and the Dots, right?
Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't.
Sometimes you don't. So that was, I know, dogs can be, again, just another one of those things that's relatable. Talk about some of the other things that come from your life that show up.
Now I'm going to back up. This is why I want to have Heidi and Jerry on the show, because this is what American life should be like. Dogs and pets and kids. My life was nothing like that. So they're not going to step on my angle. I'm so off the charts. And I think that's what makes such a good compliment. I was so just trying to chase whatever normal is. That's what I wanted to do. So my thing was I wanted to travel. I think, okay, Wisconsin, I hated my hometown, and I didn't like it because I thought, everywhere was like that. Then you get out and travel, it's like, well, people are people everywhere, but you get a chance to see the country. So when I first started out, I wasn't a drinker, I'm not a drug user, so all the comedians, like Heidi said, the young comedians either go dirty or they talk about, drinking and partying. I wasn't that thing. So I talked about traveling, and I talked about childhood because nobody else is really doing that, and that's what my life was. So that's kind of what my life is about. I have stories, and, people say, man, you have stories like nobody else. And I think like songs.
He does.
Songs are, the good ones are the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. There's a song. There's a million songs about love. One about a boat that goes down, it sinks. And you think, I'd never write a song about that. And it was a big hit. And Gordon Lightfoot said, that was my best work. It's the song everybody knows me as. My whole act is Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Stories like that. For example, I'm going to plug my book here. Okay, I hope this is
absolutely.
Okay. It's called Monkey in the Middle. And if you're watching here, you can see the cover. And if you're listening, everybody's got a best friend. Now, when you were a kid growing up, and who was your best friend? I want you.
Jonathan.
Well, who's your best friend?
Mindy.
Mine was Tim, became Timbo. We met when we were 11 years old, and he had a horrible childhood. He lived in a housing project near me in Milwaukee, and I was with my grandparents and had a horrible life, and they were getting a divorce. It was nasty. And we met at a really tumultuous time in our lives. And Tim and I grew up. We did a lot of coming of age things together, and it got to the point where he became head of security at a bank that he worked at downtown Milwaukee. And I was working at 93 QFM radio station in Milwaukee, which I can plug because it's off the air now. And I got fired the day after Thanksgiving. They didn't call it Black Friday. It was horrible. And it was like going into Christmas, and we were going another direction, which is always south. I called my friend Tim, and he had been let go from his bank security job because they wanted to bring the $6 an hour rent-a-cops in. And he was miserable, and I was miserable. I said, our childhood was bad. Christmas is coming up. I'm going to put a bullet in my head. Let's go someplace warm and just relax for get our heads straight. He goes, where do you want to go? I said, well, how about Las Vegas? We've never been there before. He goes, well, when do you want to leave? I said, well, it's Friday. Let's go Monday morning. We'll just go. I'll rent a car, a lot of money, got some severance pay. So while I was renting the car and my cousin was laid off, he was a union carpenter, so I asked him to come along to split expenses. While I picked my cousin up and rented the car, my best friend since childhood, Timbo, robbed the bank that he used to work at. And we had $105,000 of stolen bank money in 2 gym bags in the back of my rental car under my name because I was the only one that had a credit card. And we drove from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to Las Vegas, Nevada. And it took us about 2 days.
Did you gamble it all?
No, that's the thing. I didn't know he had it. He didn't say he had it.
Oh.
So he didn't act like he had any extra money. I did not know it. It was totally... So we're driving. You know how guys are. We could have stopped, but we're going to get there. So we would go in shifts. Someone would drive, then the shotgun would keep the driver awake, and then someone would sleep in the back seat. It was a constant, rotation all the way out there.
Yeah.
So we got to Vegas, and he had the money. He knew he had it, but we didn't. So my cousin and I said, we got 1 room, because that's all he would afford, 2 double beds. He goes, well, you guys sleep in each bed, and then I'll go out, and I'll come back and when you guys are done. So little did we know, he took that money and went to casinos, and he knew he was a head of security, so he knew where the laundered money was and the marked money. So bad money out, good money in. He had a whole plan the whole way back. So we come back to Wisconsin. Doesn't say he robbed the bank. Nobody knows anything. About a year later, he asked me to come to his house, and I just been on a long. I was from Detroit to Milwaukee. It's about 8 hours. I was tired. I said, I don't want to talk. Can we talk tomorrow? I really got to talk to you. So I went over to his house, and I said, talk. He goes, our kids are still up. Can't talk. Let's go outside. So if you know Milwaukee, there's the East North Avenue Bridge. Mm-hmm. And it goes from the east side basically to the not a good neighborhood. So he takes me out in the middle of the North Avenue Bridge, and he said, I got the biggest thing I've ever had to tell you, and I don't know how to get it out. Guess. What would you guess? Your best friend gets you out on the bridge at about 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
I said,
you want to jump?
I said, yeah. Did you kill somebody? Are we okay? And he laughed. He goes, remember the bank I used to work at? I told you got robbed. He did tell us it got robbed. I said, you know who did it, don't you? He goes, yeah, I do. What do you think I should do? I said, well, that's easy. Turn them in, get the reward money, wash your hands of it, and walk away. He said, I can't do that. I said, why not? And he wouldn't look me in the eye. He looked at his feet, and he said, because it was me. I said, you got me off the... I'm not kidding. He was my best friend. I know him since we were 11 years old. I knew he was serious. I said, why are you telling me this now? He goes, well, the FBI's been coming really down on me, not just me, but everybody at the bank. They asked me what I did on the morning of the robbery, and my alibi was I was with my best friend, Dobie Maxwell, in a rental car as we're driving from Milwaukee to Vegas. But you're not a suspect or anything. I said, are you insane? He goes, look, I didn't tell my wife. I'm trying to tell you, but I said, well, I don't want to know this. He goes, if the FBI comes over and asks you, I did it, you didn't, you had nothing to do, I feel bad, you turn me in. I said, not only am I going to turn you in, I am going to throw my shoulder out of joint pointing at you to say that you did it. I thought there was going to be cops and helicopters and SWAT teams.
Coming onto the bridge right now.
Yeah.
And
nothing happened.
And that's in your book then, isn't it?
It's in the book, Monkey in the Middle. And it'll be, now here's the thing. If you're listening to the show today, I have a PDF version, which I will give free. Anybody that sends me an email, they'll be available tomorrow at the show. You want to pick one up. They're $20. If you don't like the book, I'll buy it back. No one else has ever done. It's got a chance to be a movie. It was a movie as it's happening. So the second robbery he did almost a year later. And are we doing on time here? I don't want to go too long.
Nope, you're all right. We're gonna wrap up in just a moment.
Okay. So anyway, he robbed the bank again, a second time, and he wore a gorilla mask, helium balloons, a tuxedo, and that's why it's called Monkey in the Middle. And one thing led to another, and I had to turn my best friend in. I had to wear a wire to get him to confess that he did it, testify in federal court, and my best friend went to jail for 6.5 2.5 years. Now, when Heidi tells a story about dogs and kids, I like to hear stories. Like when I hear about your vacation across North Carolina, I love those
boring
stories.
compared to him.
Well, my life, I wish I was boring sometimes. So there's something for everybody tomorrow. So Monkey in the Middle, free copy. If you're a reader, it's 370 pages. I wrote every piece of punctuation, every word myself, and everybody's like fascinated by it. It's like, I can't believe it. I didn't write it. It just happened, and I reported it.
Truth is stranger than
Truth
fiction.
is stranger than
Yeah,
fiction.
exactly.
So that's the one thing. So come on, Schlitz happen tomorrow. We'll see a great show. Heidi, Jerry, me, books. But if you can't make it and you want a free copy of the book, send me an email, dobijmaxwell@gmail.com. I will send you a copy.
It's a good book.
And it just goes to show it's going to be such a great contrast and show tomorrow, a lot of different perspectives. And if that story doesn't intrigue you enough to come check out the show, I'm not sure what's going to, because you've got a great elevator speech where people tell us one interesting fact about you. I was an alibi for a crime. So there you go. So come on out. Schlitz happened in Old Milwaukee, Blats from the Past, happening tomorrow night at Beaver Dam Area Community Theater, 7:30 a showtime at Encore Hall. Tickets available online at BDACT.org. You can also get some tickets at the door. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks for having us.
Cannot wait to see the show.
Thanks,
it's going to be
Ninja.
a great time. Thanks for coming in today. That's going to do it for Hometown Today here on 95.3 WBEV and Daily Dodge TV, presented by Professional Floor Covering.